So I recently got my purple belt in Jiu Jitsu, and here are 5 lessons I learned on the mat that completely changed my life, my business, and probably tripled my income in just a few short years. And hopefully you can apply these same principles to see the same success I did. Peace. The first and most important lesson is that it teaches you how to learn again. Like the first 3 months of Jiu Jitsu, all that happens to me and to you or to anyone that starts is you get smashed by people half your size, by teenagers, by girls, whatever it may be. And the whole idea here is that you go to training and you show up to training without expecting any type of result. Because the sport is so physical, because you're doing something you've never done before, all you have to focus on is just surviving. And that's the goal. You don't go there to choke anyone out. You don't go there to try to do specific things. All you're trying to do in your mind is show up, survive, and get a little bit better and survive for a little bit longer. That's all that's happening when you go sparring, when you're new to Jiu-Jitsu. And that's all your mindset's focused on. Now think about this. When was the last time you tried something new and you had that same mindset of, I'm going to try something new, I'm going to surrender to the fact that I'm going to be shit and it's something new, and I'm going to put in the work and just show up every day without expecting to get the end result. Just wanting to get that little bit better every single day. There's no shortcuts. There's no quick wins. There's no like, watch this video and do this and you're going to get amazing results tomorrow. That doesn't exist. So all you have to do is trust the process, show up, know that you're going to be shit and surrender to the fact that that's going to happen, and just get better every single day. And if you can take that same mindset to any other thing you want to try and any other thing you want to learn, then you will get results. Because now it's not focused on the end goal. You're focused on just getting that little bit better and understanding it's going to take time, it's going to take reps, and eventually you'll get there. Look, to be honest with you, I'm guilty of this too. A few years ago, for example, I wanted to run ads. I wanted to grow my business through ads, through direct response marketing. And I have never done that type of ad, and I've never run any type of direct response marketing before in my life. I'd run basic ads before, but I watched a YouTube video, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to do this ad, I'm going to get leads, I'm going to grow my business tomorrow. So what did I do? I tried to run the ad, I created it once, I launched it, I tried to change it a few times, and after the 3rd or 4th day, nothing happened. And silly old stupid me would say, you know what, Facebook ads don't work for my business, ads don't work for my business, direct response marketing doesn't work. Right? Because I was focused on the end goal and getting the results instantly. The same thing can happen anywhere else. For example, you try to pick up the guitar. You see someone playing guitar on YouTube, it looks easy, you pick it up for a week, and then you stop. Why? Because you don't realize that we're focusing on the end result. You want to be good straight away. It's that instant gratification that everybody wants. But if you can start to reprogram your mind and rechange the way you think about learning something new, and be okay with being shit at it at first, and putting in the work, and putting in the months, and putting in the time, and slowly getting better, then everything else will change. I've tried a million things and never got results because that was my mindset before. And now, for example, a year ago, I wanted to try direct response marketing again. I said, I'm going to get 5,000 euros, and I'm going to be willing to burn this money on fire as my tuition fee to learn how to run ads and learn the system to actually get clients into the business. So what did I do? I started my ads, I understood the systems, I implemented them, I spent money on ads, and every single day I'd look at the data, not focus on actually closing a deal, focused on how can I optimize, how can I get slightly better, how can I get more leads, how can I change my ad? Okay, now I'm getting leads, how can I get more people to a book call? And what are the skills I need to learn and how can I get better at doing that every single day? Separating myself from the results instantly and focusing on breaking it down into smaller goals and slowly getting better. I think that's the secret. If you can apply that to any part of your life, if you want to learn something new, you can never lose. Because if you're not focused on the end result instantly and you're focused on small improvements every single day and just showing up, knowing it's going to take time, knowing you're going to be shit, knowing you have to be putting in the work, then you'll get results. So that's the first lesson and the most important one that I learned and applied to my life that completely changed the way I am. Lesson number 2 is getting a coach. Think about it. Like whenever we start sports, for some reason, the first thing we do that's natural to us is to get a coach. I started Jiu-Jitsu, I got a coach. You start football, you get a coach. You start tennis, you get a coach. It's not really natural to do things yourself and learn yourself because it's so normal to have a sports coach, right? But what I failed to realize was you can have the same thinking and apply it to every single other part of your life. And that's the biggest mistake I made early on, is because I tried to learn everything myself. Like, think about what a coach does. A coach is helping you get from where you currently are to where you want to go much faster. He has experience, he's done it before, he has a roadmap, he knows what's wrong, he knows what mistakes you're going to make, and he can correct you along the whole journey and just minimize the time it's going to take you to get from where you are to where you want to go. Right? And if we can apply that same principle and find coaches for every other part of our life, then it's so much easier to actually get to where you want to go. And I never realized this. I used to try run ads myself, try to sales calls myself, and watch some videos, but that's not going to get you the results. If I started Jiu-Jitsu on my own and watched YouTube videos, there would be 1,000,001 things I would have done wrong. It would have taken me 100 times longer. I probably would have given up half the way because I had no one to actually hold me accountable. There's so many small nuances that having a coach actually brings to you from a benefit point of view that we take for granted. So when I realized this, it's like, I can get a lead generation coach. I can get a sales coach. I can get a business coach. I can get a spiritual coach. Whatever it may be, whatever problem you're trying to solve, someone has been there before and someone has solved the problem. So why would you spend 5 years of your life trying to figure it out on your own when you can have someone to tell you exactly what to do and to shorten that gap and shorten the frustration and hold you accountable and get you to where you want to go much faster? So the biggest lesson for me here is that having a coach helps you pay for speed. It helps shorten that time. And as a business owner, that's the most important thing for me. I pay for speed. And over the past few years, I've paid for coaches all across the world for the biggest problems I'm trying to face and trying to solve. And I've managed to solve them within a couple of months. Just because I had someone who had been in my situation before actually tell me what not to do and what to do in a much more structured way. And to be honest with you, it's one of the best investments you can make. It's the best investment I've ever made in my life. Investing in coaches. I've spent hundreds and thousands on coaches in the past few years alone. In result, spending that amount of money gave me access to certain communities, certain people, certain coaches, certain skills. And now I can take the money I invested in coaches and use those skills to be able to make that money back tenfold. Remember, a skill that you learn lasts a lifetime. So let's take an example. Let's say I spent 15,000 euros on a sales coach, which could sound crazy. Like, why would you spend 15,000 euros? If you told me this 5 years ago, I'd say you're mad. Right? But think about it like this. If I sell something of 5,000 euros and I have 100 sales calls a month and I'm only closing 5, and I pay 15,000 euros to the sales coach and he teaches me how to increase my conversions by an extra 25%, I'm closing an extra 15 deals a month, right? That means for the rest of my life, not only for the first month I'm closing those deals, for the rest of my life, I have a lesson and I have the skills that actually are bringing me results every single day. That skill never leaves you. So that 15,000 you invested in yourself to learn the skill is going to pay back in a few months' time, and then everything else besides that, the rest of your life, that skill stays with you, is paying it for itself. It's just profit. Think about it in that way. So it's not about an expense anymore. It's about investing and about how much value can your coach bring back to you. Not just now, today, but in the long run and the rest of your life. For me, having coaches in my corner that have been where I am at and have achieved the things I want to achieve and can give me the advice and can allow me to see, not only learn from them, but enable me to actually start thinking like they would think in certain situations. That for me is one of the biggest skills and the best thing I've ever learned from Jiu-Jitsu, about having a coach. Not just a sports coach, but a coach for every part of your life as well. Lesson number 3 is system thinking. Jiu-Jitsu is just like chess, right? You're always thinking about setting up your opponents, planning 10 moves ahead, how you're going to set up and how you're going to actually get there. And it's planning and thinking about the way you're going to attack in a system. One thing leads to the next and everything's intertwined. And when I first started Jiu-Jitsu, I would practice a rear naked choke or a triangle, which is a submission, right? And I do this over and over and over again. And after a while, you're like, fuck, man, I can submit anyone. I know how to do a rear naked choke. It's going to be the easiest thing in the world. Let's go. But the thing is, as soon as you try implement this with like a one-dimensional type of thinking, like I'm going to do a rear naked choke, then that never actually happens. Because To actually get to the choke, there's 100 different steps you have to do to get there, especially in a real life situation. So what happens quickly is you realize that, okay, in order for me to get this choke, I need to learn 100 different things. I need to learn how to take down the person. I need to learn how to pass his guard. I need to learn how to set up the choke. I need to learn how to fight the hands. I need to learn how to set the choke in. I need to learn how to finish it. And every single one of those different things I just mentioned has 100 different other ways and skills you have to learn to actually be able to do them. So that's one of the most valuable skills it can give to you as a business owner. When you want to get a certain action done, you need to think about the systems in place to be able to actually do it. So let's go into an example of business. I thought if I learned how to generate leads, I will close more deals. So I'm like, all I need to do is run a Facebook ad, get a lead, and I'm happy. I'm going to close everyone. But that's a stupid and immature way of thinking, because I'm not thinking of lead generation as a whole system. I need to think of the system of client acquisition, which is closing more deals and getting more business. Now, if you just think about it as lead generation, you are never going to get results, because getting leads is one part of the system, one part of the process. We need to be able to generate leads. We need to learn how to engage the leads. We need to learn how to nurture the leads. We have to qualify the leads. And then we have to learn how to sell the lead and have a proper sales call. Every single one of those steps has 100 different skills you have to learn, 100 different nuances you have to understand and implement to be able to get results. So before, I used to think, I just want to generate leads. Now I can understand that lead generation is just one part of the system. And if you look at the whole entire system and understand each individual one and learn the skills for each individual part of the system, then you can get results. Then I can choke someone out. Then I can actually get more sales in. So that's one of the most important things to understand in any other part of your life, not just in business. Everything has to be done in a system way of thinking. System thinking needs to be applied to every single part for you to understand what are the processes, what are the steps that I need to take in order to get me the result I want to actually have. So yeah, every system has an input, a process, an outcome, and an environment and feedback. So if you can understand what that actual system is, you can get the results you want by thinking of systems, not about small little individual processes. Lesson number 4 is practice versus implementation. Right? In Jiu Jitsu, most of the time we spend drilling. Every single session, you drill the same techniques, you do it over and over again, and you try to figure out how you can apply this to real life. Right? But the problem is that you almost develop a full sense of belief. Like you've drilled something so many times in practice that you almost think, this is going to be this easy in real life. I can choke anyone out. I can do this move to anyone. But what happens is, as soon as you go into sparring to mimic a real life situation and your opponent is trying to actually go back with you and you're going hard and you're actually mimicking a real fight, everything you learned in practice goes out the window, especially in the beginning, because you've never been exposed to a real life situation. So as important as drilling is, as important as training is, as watching YouTube videos, as reading books, as studying and coming up with amazing plans, as amazing and as important as that is, it's completely different than implementing. And you have to be really careful about this, that you don't get caught up into this information overload, where you're trying to get the perfect plan and the perfect script and the perfect ad, and understand that implementing it is a completely different thing. The money is in the implementation, right? Anyone can have the best idea in the world, but if you don't implement, then it's useless. So the whole idea here is that we need to learn that practice and implementation are two completely different things. I used to spend hours coming up with business plans and proposals and ad campaigns and ideas and content ideas that I never used to do, right? And I never used to implement them. And now I've shifted my mindset to say I would rather implement, because nothing can replace the actual real life training and the real life examples and the real life feedback you're going to have. Watch 1,000 videos on YouTube. You can read 1,000,000 books. But if you don't implement it, it's useless. And you basically have a fake skill. You just have knowledge. And if you're not using that knowledge and changing the way you think and implementing it in the way you actually work, then you're just wasting your own time. Let's take, for example, sales skills, right? In sales skills, the way you actually get better is through role play. You have scripts, you study your scripts, you study your pitch, you understand everything, you understand the objections, you role play the objections with your team. And you can do this over and over and over and over and over again, but nothing's going to replace the real life example of picking up the phone and actually calling your leads and actually having a sales conversation and actually being on site and actually talking to people. Right? And there's so many things that we do in our lives where we try to get all of this information, and sometimes we forget to just implement and get a real life training of what it's like and get the reps in a real life environment. And the same thing with any business. Like if you have a product, you can spend years in development. And I've done this myself, where we've spent months on end coming up with ideas, developing the product, but not pushing it out and getting real life feedback. And the moment we spent years and thousands on actual development costs, pushed it out to the market, the results weren't there because we never got feedback. We never tested it. We never actually got real life feedback of what the product and what the market is telling us. So remember, there's a place for practice, but implementation is key. The last lesson is extreme ownership. In Jiu Jitsu, there's no one else to blame but yourself, right? You're on your own. You can't blame your coach, you can't blame your teammates, you can't blame anyone for the success or the failures you have, right? If you fail in Jiu Jitsu, if you lose a match, it's all on you. Somewhere along the line, you screwed up. You made the wrong move, you didn't practice enough, you weren't ready for a specific move your opponent was going to do on you. So it sort of helps you understand what extreme ownership is, because somewhere along the line, you made a mistake and you can't blame anyone else besides yourself. So if you can take that same mindset and that same belief and apply it to anywhere else in your life, then you can start learning how to take control of your life. You stop blaming the weather, you stop blaming your friends, you stop blaming your family, you stop blaming your team, and realize that your business is just a reflection of you. You don't have a business problem, you always have a you problem or a me problem. Right? I wanted to run ads, or my team wasn't performing well. I'd blame my team that they weren't showing up on time, they weren't motivated. That's my problem from a leadership point of view. And then I have to put in the work to learn the skills to be able to be a better leader. And that's happened to me time and time again. Every single time I had an issue in my business and I'd blame other people, I was the issue. And when you can start understanding that and take the same concepts of, if you made a mistake or if you didn't get the results you wanted, you screwed up somewhere along the line. Yes, the environment might affect things, but if you start blaming other people and the environment and your location and your friends, you've lost. So I think the most important thing is have extreme ownership in every single part of your life. Take control and understand if things are not going wrong, you can change them. You can put in the work and you can devote more time and learn more skills and get a coach and do all of the things, basically the lessons in this video that can help you get closer to where you want to go. So there you have it. Those are the 5 lessons I've learned in Jiu Jitsu that enabled me to actually transform my life and live the life I've always dreamed of. Have the success I wanted, have the team I wanted, have the relationships I wanted. And a lot of the lessons that I learned in Jiu Jitsu, as I explained to you today, those 5 lessons have been key in helping shape me and shape the life I want to live. So if you can start understanding those things and implementing them in your life, hopefully they can do the same thing for you. It's not about quick wins. It's about putting in the work, dedication, trusting the process, having extreme ownership, having someone to help you guide you get there. And if you can do all of these things, you are on the path to success. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions, or if you're looking to start Jiu Jitsu or have any questions on that, just comment in the comment section below and I'll get them answered. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.